there was a point in time where I did not leave my home. I mean, I don't step outside of my four walls of my house for like 8 months. I hated my existence, and I have done my very best to make an amends with my children. These words are really difficult to say, and I've shared them before, but it doesn't make it any easier. When you hate yourself more than you can love the people that you need to love the most, it makes being a parent really difficult.
It's the Fit for Radio podcast. I'm your host, Drew Tiedemann, and we are inside the studio at the Stafford Hills Club like we are all the time. And I got to tell you, I was at the pool yesterday, beautiful sunny day, and it was popping out there. Kids eating a little bit of flatbread pizza at the saltwater pool. And I will say this, here's a little fun fact. My oldest daughter has long, beautiful hair, but every time we get out of a chlorine pool, she tries to brush the thing, and it's a complete knot fest. And yesterday, as we're leaving the pool, she's combing her hair, and it's like a Rapunzel moment where she's like, oh my God, I think I figured it out. I can swim. It just needs to be in a saltwater pool. So check them out, Stafford Hills Club or staffordhills.com, and tell them Drew sent you. Get half off your initiation, and do it quick because family memberships are filling up, and that means you'll end up on a wait list, and I want to see you at the pool. Right now, though, we are transitioning into a guest I've been wanting to sit down with for a while. It's crazy how far back I go with this guy, and he's seen it all. He went from a college kid to living his life to rock bottom and all the way back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, James Yount.
Thanks, Drew. I'm really excited to be here. That's pretty awesome.
I'm glad you're here. Now,
too.
I was actually driving in this morning. I was doing the math. The last time I saw you was maybe I've seen you once in between, but 27 years?
Probably.
Was there a time in between?
I think I ran into
At a football game?
at a tailgate at a football game, but that was probably still 16 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like 2010, 2011, because I quit buying season tickets, I think, in 2011 or 12, somewhere in that ballpark.
Something like that. And I will say that in those, back in the day, when someone's like, yeah, I saw you at a Duck game, I'm all, well, that's not like my easiest place to make memories.
Yeah,
I'm having a great time, but it's not really like the memory zone.
No.
But we go way back. We were actually in the same pledge class at the same fraternity in 1999.
Yeah.
That's how far ago it is.
That's rough to think that was almost 30 years ago.
It is. And, but seeing you here today, it's nice to see that you are happy and healthy today. But it wasn't always the case. When I first met you in 99, we had some mutual friends. We had some great times. We were just kind of catching up off the show a little bit earlier about, in a time before Ring doorbell cams and really everyone having a cell phone, there was a whole lot of activity that went down. We one time threw a party and we needed shrubs and bushes and everything.
We needed it to look tropical.
And so you were just reminding me, I had blocked this memory out that we stole all of the plants for the party and all the palm trees from a nice Mexican restaurant, which is no longer there. So it's not like we're hurting business these days. It's probably because they couldn't afford new foliage.
That's exactly why they shut down.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't help the bottom line when you're doing that. But that was a long time ago. And when you left school, like really early there, actually that first year you went on to go start your life, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little bit about the time between 2000 and say 2012.
So right after I left school, that winter break, I worked for a catering company, and we got to do a lot of really amazing events. Like between that summer and that winter, I think I did Rockfest. We catered Rockfest. We did BB King backstage, Fish, and the one really lame one was Sarah McLachlan.
Hey, I would have eaten snacks with her.
I did. But seeing that and the hours were conducive to the lifestyle I wanted to live, and culinary arts became something I became very good at.
You were a natural.
I was a natural at it. Had I had the discipline that I have now, I probably would have made a much more successful career at it, but I was successful enough, and it allowed me to drink booze and chase skirts for till I was 30.
Mhm. And you did that.
Yep.
Now, at what point do you get into the family game? Is that pre or post 2012?
It was before. I uh, There's a lot of peaks and valleys, and we probably don't have time because I really want to get to the meat and potatoes of why I'm here today.
Mhm.
Um, in 2025, I thought I found rock bottom. I was dabbling with the same things.
In 2025?
No, excuse me, 2005.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
sorry.
you look too good for that right now.
Yeah. So in 2005, I thought I found rock bottom. I tried to get sober. Um, I did like a week in a detox center. I put like 9 months together twice.
So you went to rehab and
I
you at least
tried.
detoxed?
I detoxed. I went to inpatient at what's the heck? The one that was there in Eugene.
Serenity Lane?
Yeah, that's the one.
The
Yeah.
fact that I just know off the top of my head, I have not stayed the night there, but I have plenty of friends who have.
I did inpatient at Serenity Lane. I tried to stay sober, but the one thing I can pinpoint that's absolutely different is like, and when people ask me like how, I'm like, you've got to let go of who you were, and I wasn't ready to let go of who I was, and I wasn't ready to like move on from my friend group. And you can only go to a barbershop for so long before you get a haircut, and so it wasn't long
Mhm.
before I was just like,
If you're around the drugs, you're gonna do the drugs.
yeah. And so pretty soon I hopped back into the lifestyle. And by that time I'd had my son. And that was 2007. And then I was with their mom. We were together with both my kids' mom and married or a couple for 14 years, 15 years, something like that.
And so during that time, you're drinking, but are you also using cocaine
Yes.
during that time, like on a regular basis or a
No,
party
like
mode?
it was like party mode for a while, or like, it was just booze and pot for a long time because she had been sober for a really long time. But then I don't know, like all things do, they get bigger, they get wilder. Um, I was making um, a lot of money in some quasi legal ways.
So you were legitimizing it as in you weren't wasting your money.
Right. So I was able to legitimize, like, you want to buy an ounce of cocaine? Cool. That's really not that big a dent to your pocketbook. Um,
Okay.
and so, but that became like not just Fridays and Saturdays. That became, it's a Tuesday night. Let's snort a quarter ounce of cocaine.
Yeah, you start to bridge the gap.
Right. And so things were pretty mild up until probably my early 30s. So like 10 or 15 years, 15 years ago, probably.
Then it started to
And then it
ramp
started
up.
to kind of ramp up, and like it became whatever was like, I still avoided the hard drugs, but like mushrooms, LSD, like, like I'm acting like I'm 20 again.
Mhm.
But a lot of that had to do with like the amount of easy money I was making. And so um, I,
It's
I had a lifestyle that was conducive. I could go to work at 11 o'clock or noon, work till 11 o'clock at night. I could drink all night, um, sleep till 10 or 11, and like I could function.
Yeah, and even when I first met you, you were always down for excess.
Yes.
Like you were down to party.
I think that as we move along in this story, that excess, that learning how to flip that switch from um, being stubborn or excess and turning that stubbornness into a motivator and discipline, really is where the rubber met the road in my before life and my new life.
Mhm. And I say this all the time. I have a very addictive personality, and it's funny compared to a lot of my friends. Like when I sit with you, I look vanilla, but in reality, is if I'm not addicted to working out, then I'd be addicted to something else.
Exactly.
If I wasn't addicted to performing, I'd be addicted to something else. And I know it's a slippery slope.
It is.
And so, it's no different for you. You just happened to be in the muck of it. You were at the barber shop.
I was at, yeah. Well, like the culinary world, at least the one I was in. I mean, I'm assuming there's still a part of that pirate ship that exists, but I think it's changed a lot over the last 10 or 15 years. I think a lot of it, like especially post COVID, the amount of money that people are willing to pay attracts a maybe a little gentler crowd. But like especially when you're the chef and you're working in a place that serves booze until whatever, and
It's
you
right there.
yeah.
It's always right there.
And you come in shaking, like the bartender isn't going to be mad at you if you're like, hey, dude, I need a double shot and a ginger ale, and I'm going to fry some French fries so I can stop the shakes and I can work for the next X amount of time. And then about halfway
Mhm.
through your shift, you're like, you're feeling good, and so you're like, hey, I need just keep sending the doubles back,
Yeah.
and so you're half blottoed before
Yeah.
before you're even done shift, and so then you're just like, okay, it's a Friday night, it's midnight, like where else am I going to go?
Might as well hang out here.
Might as well hang out here, or the bar down the street, or the bar where all the other cooks are hanging out, and we'll, and so it worked fine until it didn't.
And well, cook culture also, and it may be a little bit different now, like you said, but my wife was a bartender and a server for many, many, many years, and worked hand in hand a lot of times where it was just her and a cook. And I mean, she's dragged people off the toilet overdosing on heroin. I mean,
Yeah.
she's seen burnt tinfoil in the walk-in. I mean, it goes on and on. There's no shortage of stories there.
No, and that is why I probably was not as successful at it as I could have been,
Yeah.
but because I was just a natural at it, I was able to fake my way through a lot of places I probably even didn't even deserve to work in, but I can see something be done and I can emulate it relatively quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm a hard worker.
Well, and you have an outgoing personality too. So
Yeah.
if you're masking whatever you're taking,
Yeah.
then you're doing
Until
fine.
you can't, but like,
But you're good. You're almost like a used car salesman for your drug habit.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. And then, so that was pretty much my life until it got worse in my late 30s.
So things do get worse, and a lot of that cascades off of the loss of your dad.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk bad about the dead or my father, but um, a big part of my addiction, my anger, the trauma I grew up in resulted from him. And um, one night in my previous, what I thought was rock bottom, my dad and I were in Northern California visiting his brother, and we're drinking whiskey and snorting white drugs that weren't cocaine. And my dad uh, tends to be a very emotional drunk. Something I've like in the back of my head always, I mean, not that I was perfect at it, but I've always tried really, really hard when I was drinking to like either be really, really happy, or if I'm in a bad mood, like avoid people like the plague, because I didn't want to be my dad. And so my dad's like, let's go see where your grandfather's buried. And I'm like, Dad, I don't think this is a good idea.
You're not in the headspace.
Yeah, you're not in the headspace. There's like, we've been drinking Jack Daniels Black like all day. Like we've gone through 2/5 together, and we had been in the bar drinking straight shots for, well, till they kicked us out because we couldn't drink anymore. So we drive to where my grandfather was buried, and he starts getting really emotional, and he starts doing his best to apologize for the BS he had put me through as a child, the neglect, the abuse. But he isn't really wanting to own any of it. And I'm like, Dad, let's just not talk about this right now. And then he says something, and I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it set me off. And I'm like, I retort back with like, I'm pissed. But my dad is like, I'm not a little human being, but my dad,
He's an even bigger human.
yes, he's a much bigger human. And my dad has like, well, I have his wedding ring, and I can't put his wedding ring on my thumb.
So he's got some big old sausage
And
fingers.
so he's old and fat at this point, but he like throws a punch at me, and I see it coming. And we're at my uncle's wood shop, and I dodge it. I shove him. He growls, and I'm like cower like a little kitty cat into the back corner of the wood shop
because he's still your dad.
Yeah, and I can't escape him. Well, he like leaves. I hang out in the wood shop until I'm assuming he's passed out. Well, I finally get in the house. I grab my phone, and my dad left me in Northern California that night.
He just left.
Just left. He's like, I can't do this anymore. It doesn't matter. So he left me, and I vow to never talk to him ever again. Well, I moved back home because after I'm done in Northern California, I work for my uncle for a while, make some money so I can move home. I move home, try to get sober, and excuse me. I'm going to AA meetings. I meet my kid's mom, even though we had actually known each other like for most of our lives. So she's in AA. We're hanging out. It's attraction, and um, my dad finds out we're gonna have a son, or that she's pregnant. I don't think we knew we were having a son yet, and he's trying to talk to me. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want anything to do with you. Um, and Cassidy, my kids' mom, was like, "Hey, I think you should give him one more chance." And I'm like, "I don't really want to. Like, I've given him a lot of chances, and
Yeah.
every time it's kind of bit me in the ass." And then I do, and he apologizes, and my dad and I like become a
But
big butt. Like, he's my dad that I always wanted, the friend I always needed. Like, he's awesome.
it's in repair mode.
It's in repair mode, and he even said, like, "I'm sorry that I'm," his version of again apologizing was, "I'm sorry that I'm probably going to be a much better grandfather than I ever was a father." And those were hard words to hear. And so
But
anyway,
in a way, it's him accepting that he failed you on that.
yeah, exactly. And he was a great grandfather. He was there. He helped. Like, he was awesome. Um, and so I really got to know my dad for like 8 years, and then cancer took him away, and I was pissed. Like, I was angry at God. I was just angry, and um, I was working with a buddy, and he started dabbling in meth again. And I said, no, I know, no, no. But I'm like, I'm so angry. And my whole life, drugs and alcohol have always been my tool to escape, or
Yeah, it's
how I
crutch.
felt. It's the crutch, right? Like, it's how I dealt with life. And so one day I'm like, I'm too pissed off to drink. If I start drinking right now, I'm going to be abusive because I'm really angry.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, just hand me that. And so I started smoking meth, and man, it goes downhill real fast.
Yeah, how quick did that unravel? Because now a drug I've never touched and always been deathly afraid of because of what happens. So like you take it at first. I'm guessing you think you're like bionic.
Yeah, well, like, I had done it a little bit in my late teens, early 20s, because it was so readily available. But again, like, I didn't know how bad it was, and it wasn't like I did it to the volume and to the extreme I started doing it in. So, like, to say it was horrible was probably not a bad. It did make poor choices, obviously, but it wasn't what happened.
Because that meth uses leads you eventually it leads you to depression and some other darker things. But originally you start to gamble,
Yeah, so I would go to the bar and I would gamble, and I'll
just
tell.
video poker.
Oh, yeah, and I'd go to the casino, and, um, like I said earlier, I was making good money easily, um, and my lifestyle, like, the home I had, the cars I had, like, reflected that. Well, that got taken away from me, but my bills obviously remained the same, and so I'm like, "I don't know what to do." I'm spun out, I'm doing whatever while I'm spun out, and, like, I gamble, and, like, in, like, a week, I win, like, $10,000, and I'm like,
You
"This
think
is."
this is the answer?
Yeah, like, awesome.
Uh-oh.
This is the answer. Well, it wasn't. And the combination of um, the heavy dopamine hits from meth, because meth just floods you with dopamine, and the super adrenaline rush high and the dopamine hit from gambling
They
is
just
is just
cascading.
intoxicating. Well, the same is true for losing a shit ton of money and the come down. Like, and I was thinking about this because this is not my first time sharing my story, but I don't really ever and have never really shared how horrible my gambling addiction was and how dark it brought me. Like, the gambling is what brought the depression. The gambling made me, um, well, I'm going to swear again. It made me a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, it made like my ex-wife, probably should have left me then and there because I was stealing, robbing. I was like,
Anything to gamble,
anything to get, well, to feed my addiction
and to get your addiction.
and to get my addiction. Like, it was bad. Um, and then,
How much would you say you lost
oh,
if you just had to guess?
I can say that, like, I would say probably 30 grand, 40 grand. Like,
Which
that I
is
lost.
a lot when you're trying to keep the lights on, or
Yeah,
you're
it's a
trying to
ton
pay
of,
the
that's a
mortgage.
ton of money. But,
Mhm.
like, I mean, there were days that I would sit there and I'd walk in with $2,000 and I would leave with no $1,000. Or there would be days I walked in with $5 and I left with 2 grand.
But it was all going to go back into
It was all went back to the machine, or it went back to
in-
pay off drug debt or
Mhm.
whatever. And then,
Losing at gambling too. I will point this out, and whether it's sports gambling, whether it's at a casino or video poker, when you lose, there's this feeling of stupidity. that hits you. And it's like, when you win, it's like, oh, that guy's a genius. When you lose, it's just you alone in your thoughts that, like, how did I let that happen again and
Exactly.
again and
And
again?
again and
And,
again.
and it's like, okay, well, I'm done with that. And then you're like, oh, well, I'll just put in a 20. And then if I get up, then and boom, just lost another grand.
Yeah, that. And then you add the fact that like, A, I have an extremely addictive personality.
And
And
gambling's a drug.
100%. The lights, all of it is designed to make you addicted to it.
Mhm.
I'm addictive personality. I hate losing, and I'm horribly competitive. Makes for
A dangerous gambler.
and I'm hopped up on meth, and so I have no common sense or, my
Mhm.
my prefrontal cortex is
It's in
shut off.
question.
It's completely in question. It's non. So I'm literally living in lizard brain for like 6 years, and I'm not really sure like the exact timeline, but pretty soon, like I get so dark that I shut down. Like if it's
Mhm.
not to go score a bag of dope, um, I don't leave my house.
You're just locked in.
I'm just locked in. Like I hate life. I hate myself. I hate every person I see. There's
Is
a
it hard for you to even see your kids at this point?
Yeah. I mean, we're all living together, but I don't see them.
Mhm.
I'm either living in my bathroom or I'm gone.
You're a
Right.
recluse.
I'm a recluse, and um, there was a point in time um, where I did not leave my home. I mean, I don't step outside of my four walls of my house for like 8 months.
Oh
Like
my
I don't
goodness.
go see the sun. I don't like. I I hated my existence, and I have done my very best to make an amends with my children. And I think I've done a really, really, really good job of becoming the dad that they've always needed. And I think they would. I'm sure they would say the same. Um, but
But you'd do anything to get those moments back, I'm sure.
absolutely. I can't live in regret because my life today feels like a dream. But when they've asked me why, and these words are really difficult to say, and I've shared them before, but it doesn't make it any easier. I'm fidgeting because I don't really want to say it, but um, when you hate yourself more than you can love the people that you need to love the most, it makes being a parent really difficult.
Yeah. And I mean, they say that if you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. And now people think that that's a narcissistic comment, and really it's not, because it comes down to, if I can't hold myself up, how can I hold you up?
Right. It's like you can't pour into something if you don't have anything to pour.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so that time I don't know. I don't know if I've blocked out a lot of between 2015 and 2020. Um, Probably for good reason. Um, I became a horrible father. I became a horrible husband. I was a junkie.
The Fit for Radio podcast is brought to you in part by Motorsport Hillsboro, where you got to get in there today, because we all know what's going on with gas prices. But one way to get around it is to get yourself an electric mountain bike. Not only does this thing keep you from having to buy a bunch of gas, but it also gives you full off-road capabilities, shock systems, the whole thing. You got to just go on my social media pages and you can see these gas bikes. And the cool part is the guys down at Motorsport have bought up the entire inventory. So up to 60% off for you right now when you go get a gas bike, and it's only there, the electric mountain bikes at Motorsport Hillsboro. Check them out today at motorsporthillsboro.com. Because you really kind of run into a chaos moment here. You said in your notes to me that you actually attempted suicide at some point. Where are you in the journey when you do this?
I think it was probably well, I probably really started contemplating it in 2017 because the roller coaster became so out of control, and I didn't feel like there was any way off. And on top of that, I just felt like I was the plague. Like everything bad that was happening in everyone's life, like was radiating from me. And I guess, with hindsight and looking back on things, in some aspects it was because um, I'm a really firm believer that as a man and as a husband, my job is to lead and to protect and to provide. And when I'm not doing any of those things, chaos is going to ensue because that's our natural role.
And you feel worthless.
And I feel worthless. So rewind just a little bit. Back in the early 2010, I think 2009, I was on a float and I had drank a bottle of Jameson's like prior to the float.
You're floating the river.
Floating the river, right? Well, anyway, my ex-wife doesn't know how to swim. We hit a rough part in the current, and I know the stretch of the river very well. Area I grew up in, and on that river, I get her back on the tube, and I'm like, I'm too drunk to try to swim to catch up with everybody. So I get off, I walk, I end up tearing a tendon in my foot, but they don't find it for a long time, and I can't get it fixed.
You're not sure what it is. It just hurts.
It just hurts. Well, anyway, I was putting away dishes one day, and I reach up. It's very particular because I'm spun out, so everything has to be in a particular perfect order. Well, I'm putting away wine glasses, and I had a bunch of very nice Pinot Noir tulip glasses. So I'm putting them away, and as I get up on my tiptoes, I hear a dry twig sound snap, and I just fall, and my ankle is instantly black and blue, and that's when I pretty much give up, because now I'm spun out. I don't realize how much weight I've really put on, and that's a great story too.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that because it's so wild.
It seems like oxymoronic that like I was obese and a tweaker, but if there's a will, there's a way.
It might have been the first question I asked you when we did our little pre-meeting. You're like, "Yeah, I gained all this weight." I was like, "I thought you said you were a tweaker."
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So you hurt the.
So then I hurt myself, and I'm like, I pretty much just give up, and so I attempt suicide by taking. The first time I take a shit ton of Tylenol PM, like a bunch, and thank God that my heart was beating so fast that like I don't think it killed me, but I pissed and pooped blood for about a week.
Oh my God!
So I'm assuming it just my liver was bleeding.
Yeah, and your kidneys were shutting down.
Yeah, and my kidney. Like luckily, I've had everything checked out since, and I'm fine. But that didn't work. And then one day, I was getting ready to buy a house, and everything's falling apart, and I'm feeling horrible about myself and this whole situation. And I'm like, okay, this sucks. The wife and kids are gone, and I go into the bathroom. I write a note. I had played around with putting the pistol in my mouth a bunch of times, but I never cocked the hammer. And I'm ready to do the thing. And all of a sudden I hear the dog bark, and everyone comes home like 2 hours earlier than they were supposed to. So I light a candle, I burn the note, I clean the tears and snot off my face, and realized I can't kill myself. And so I start doing more drugs. And I'm kind of realizing that I'm fat at this point. And I'm thinking, well, I can probably do enough meth and get fat enough that I'll die of a heart attack, and no one will know it's suicide.
So it's almost like there's a divine intervention there when they show up at the house 2 hours early.
And as we get through my story, I am very devout in my faith, and that was probably like one of the first instances that I saw something greater than me at work in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm painfully stubborn and didn't want to admit that.
Yeah, but in the moment, it is what it is.
Exactly.
So now you're in a situation where you can't kill yourself, so you're just absolutely going glutton games.
Yeah, just trying to die.
Now, you told me a little bit about what your diet was at this point. Now, unbelievable that you were actually able to stay alive on the nutritional value that you were delivering.
Yes.
What was the diet?
Probably like a gallon of Coca-Cola a day, jalapeno cheddar Cheetos, Nutter Butters, and whole milk.
Oh my God. First of all, whole milk and Coca-Cola, you created a bomb in your stomach. How are you not always like, probably were.
I was. There were a lot of trips to the bathroom, brother.
I bet.
A lot of trips to the
and
bathroom.
You got spicy Cheetos too, so you're not even making it easy on yourself.
No, well, I still don't.
Just burn on both ends. Now, oh my goodness. So during this time, so just to take it back to when we first met, I'm looking at you now, and we'll get to how you get to where you are in your story now, that it would make more sense to me for you to look like you do with the way that I knew you before, just because you were a taller guy, strong, young, and stout, so there was never would I think that you would gain 100+ pounds. How much was it, and where were we?
Everything falls apart. And luckily 2020 happened. Like COVID actually saved my life probably. Because everything, like 4 days before my son's 13th birthday, everything shut down. So his birthday, St. Patrick's Day, schools and everything shut down the 13th of March. We had a birthday party for him, kind of, but it was in that season that, like, when everyone came home, that I saw how destructive my lifestyle and who I had become it was really easy not to worry when everyone was gone. The kids were at school all day, the wife was gone, and I was just left to my own destruction.
You only had to fake it a few hours.
Like in the morning and at night. That's it. And then
now they're on you.
Now they're on me, and I'm looking at like how depressed and horrible my children's life are. And so this opens my eyes to like, I need to change, and I slowly do. So it's probably like this time of year, in 2020 that I start using like 3 days a week, not 7.
Okay, well, it's an improvement.
Right, and but it was an improvement. It was in those moments of like sobriety where I was able to gain clarity.
Because at least if you have some moments now, you can be like, okay, wait.
Right, and so and I'm slowly improving, and so it's probably like July of 2020 that I realized that like my wife has left me, and that's a whole long story that doesn't need to matter.
We'll get you another episode.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. So my wife has left me,
and you know,
and rightfully
for
so.
good reason,
and for great reason.
I mean,
I just wish it would have been done a little differently.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. She had every right to leave me. But then our house is getting repossessed. Cars are getting repossessed. I'm literally like, okay,
you're melting.
Yeah, shit is really falling apart at this point. And it's on my 40th birthday. I look in the mirror. It's the first time I really see myself and how fat, like,
who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy? I'm unhygienic. My hair is like 1.5 feet long. Like, I'm covered in horrible facial hair. I'm like, who knows how long I've been since I showered or brushed, like done anything to like take care of myself.
I'm sure your skin's all inflamed.
Yeah, I'm fat.
Bloated.
I lost my toenails because my heart wasn't pumping into my feet. Like, it was bad.
Oh my God.
I actually paint my toenails now because 2 of my toenails don't grow in. They grow, they die.
I'm sure they're beautiful.
They are.
Oh,
they're a really pretty.
They're a job.
They're a really pretty. They're a really pretty baby blue right now.
Oh, nice.
Because I was in Florida, so I wanted them to match the water.
Of course.
But people are like, "Why do you paint your toes?" And I'm like, "Well, it's one of those things like so I can hide. Like, I don't have to look at
and explain
like, why are your toes black?" Yeah. Anyway,
so I have beautiful feet, and leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. And so now that I just shared that with however many thousands of listeners are going to hear that, so yay. And so it's in that. So on my 40th birthday, August 20th, 2020, I am like, I look at myself in the mirror. I don't know who I am. And I say a real feeble prayer to a God at that moment in time I don't believe in. I'm just like, hey, you probably hate me. You're probably not real. But if you are, and you care, can you help me get my life back? And I feel like getting me to stop meth is probably a really good place to begin.
I jump off there.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to start.
But which is daunting. I mean, most people don't believe you can get off of it.
Yeah, and so I use again for another month and 2 days, and then I go to use again, and I don't really get high, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden, like, a robot takes me over. I smash everything, I flush everything, and I flushed a lot. Because I would buy a lot, and I would move some so I could.
You'd treat it like a Costco buy and
right.
bulk.
Yeah, exactly. Much smarter. And then I instantly regret the decision, but I haven't used hard drugs since September 22nd of 2020. But it is in that moment that I'm like, okay, shit is falling apart, and you're really fat.
These are things we know.
Yeah, so these are things we know. And so I slowly just start walking. Like, I don't even care about like how much weight I need to lose. I don't really care about like getting to enough, like none of that matters at this point. Like, just being able to like walk up the hill from where I was living was a good start.
Because you couldn't hold a job, not just because of the drugs.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't breathe. Like
the
other day I was like putting my sock on, like balancing him like on one foot. And I'm like, this seems so unreal because
you would never have been able to.
5 or 6 years ago, like bending over to tie my shoes, I would be like,
And then you would have likely fallen and laid there.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on here?
Yeah. And so I just slowly start walking, and it's like getting up the hill. It's 1,000 steps a day. It's a half a mile. It's a mile. And I do that until we finally get kicked out of the house. And everyone goes their separate directions. My son comes with me for a while. My daughter stays with my mom. I really don't know what my ex-wife is doing at this moment in time. And then it is, so now we're moved into 2021. I'm staying with my dog, my son, at my mom's boyfriend's house in Walport.
Yeah.
And I'm still walking, and I know I've lost a little bit of weight at this point. So I don't know how big and fat I really was, but I know I've lost a little bit of weight at this point because I can put these like double extra large shirts on, like button ups. And I mean, granted, like if they went when they went around my titties, they were barely buttoned.
Yeah, you had
a
stress buttons.
Yeah, so had I coughed, they would have come out and taken out someone. Yeah, taken out someone's eyeball.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I know I'm losing some weight. Well, I had never stepped on a scale, and this is July of like either the end of June or like it's like 4th of July weekend of 2021, and I step on the scale for the first time, and I'm 338 pounds.
So your max had to have been closer to like 350
ish, I would think. Like, dude, I lived in like quadruple extra larges, and so it's in this time I buy my first pair of jeans. I hadn't worn jeans in I don't know how long because nothing fit, and I wasn't
been in like sweats and one shorts.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, and slides because my feet are so like full of blood that they're not like I can't put shoes on. And so I'm like, okay, something has to be done. And so I really start making this a goal. And because I'm poor, I literally just start walking. Well, I would go back to the valley. I needed to get a job. And the anxiety of like being sober, like trying to get my kids back, trying to get a car, trying to win my wife back, like all these things
all at once,
right? I want that magic bullet solution, and there isn't. And I like the anxiety starts driving me crazy. So I get a job at the steel mill, which was in hindsight, like the worst possible decision because it's a job that like is dangerous, that like needs my full attention. And my attention
You're everywhere.
I'm everywhere. So I literally walk off the job one day because I'm like, I can't do this. And I can't explain to like a man that like, hey, dude, here's like, I hadn't shared where I had been and where I'm at. And so I'm like, you know what? I can't work right now. What has to happen is I need to get below 300 pounds. And then once I'm able to like actually stand on my feet for like 8+ hours, we'll work on it. So I am essentially just I'm like 20 years old again. I'm 40, almost 41. And I am like bouncing from house to house with a backpack and my Mastiff. And Tank is literally my best friend. And also he became my scapegoat. I was like, Tank, you're fat because he was fat because I was fat.
Yeah.
Like, Tank, you're fat. So we're going to get up and walk.
So you were each other's workout buddy.
Yeah, he didn't know it. And so I would literally just walk and I would write. I would just try to like, I was literally driving myself insane with the level of anxiety I was experiencing. And again, this is still shut down. So there isn't meetings. There isn't therapy. And like, I tried to do therapy, but it was through telehealth and it just sucked.
Tough, especially tough. You're at the beginning of the journey.
Yeah. And it just sucked. And like, it just sucked. And so I'm just trying to get my weight down. And there were times that's all I did. I would walk all day long. And the homeless people of McMinnville assumed I was homeless. And they would like, hey, you got somewhere to sleep tonight? Because I'm like, I'm just pacing around McMinnville for 12 hours a day.
Are you still on drugs?
No, I'm sober at this point.
So,
well, I'm using pot because they had put me on. So I haven't used meth it'll be 6 years this September.
Congrats.
But they put me on a bunch of like antipsychotics and antidepressants, but they kept like tweaking the things, and it was ping-ponging my anxiety so bad. I'm just like, well, forget this. Like, if you're going to put me on drugs, I'll just smoke pot and see how that helps.
Well, a lot of it's like the chemicals, and just because they're FDA approved doesn't mean that it's better for you. And
exactly.
That's a whole nother podcast in itself. But I guess I just wanted to be clear that you went down to 3 days a week, and then at some point, did you just
quit
it?
No, I just quit cold turkey on the 22nd of September.
So does meth work like, and just the Cliff Notes answer, does it work like painkillers where it's like lays on you forever, or like how do you
No, there's no like real physical um
like actual
withdrawals.
withdrawing?
It is definitely really mental though, especially like for the volume I was doing and the length of time I was using it.
The
Because
sadness and
the
everything.
sadness, that like well, it also repressed my emotions because I'm ADHD. It like kind of makes me robotic. And so all of a sudden I am feeling everything. I'm having these huge highs and these super lows because my
Yeah.
body is like, well, I'd been out of homeostasis for the better part of a decade or close
Mhm.
to a decade, probably a full decade, right? And so,
So you were able to cut it though.
yeah, I was like, but when I look back on that first year of being off meth, I'm like, I have no idea how I did it because it was like life was hard,
Oh yeah.
and so
Everything you're going through here, James, is hard. I mean,
it's
to get to 350 pounds and then come back from it alone with no drugs, full support system, nutritionist, counselor, all the stuff, so daunting. And you're doing all of it while all those other things are in play.
yeah, and so yes, and that's what I mean, like, and so I kind of like, okay, I can't get any of this back until I at least have a car and until I at least have like some sort of income. Well, I'm staying with my stepmom and I borrow her car to go see my kid play a football game down in Philomath. And I'm driving by myself and I'm just like in this anxious, like, oh my God, I need something. I need something. I need something. I'm just yelling this on repeat. And I'm like, I hit YouTube. I'm not watching it. I'm just wanting something to play while I'm driving because music was not helping the distraction. And all of a sudden I hear this man's um, TED talk. His name is Jason Redman. And he starts telling this TED talk. And Jason is a Navy SEAL and he tells about this story about his ambush. And I'm like, James, you're being a little baby right now. Like, listen to what this man is actually talking about. Like, whatever you've experienced is nothing like being shot in the face with like a 13 millimeter machine gun
Mm-hmm.
and surviving. Well, he tells his whole like amazing story of how he survived, but then he brings it back to reality. Like, we all face these ambushes. We all go through these moments that like he uses military terminologies, like where we get caught on the X and I'm like, wow, this is great. And it inspires me. Well, I start like slowly like stalking him. Like on like I want
Well,
to
you want to check out all
I
this
want to
stuff.
check out all this stuff. And not only that, I like
You want to talk to him?
I have. But I want to like, is this guy like for real? Like, is this like what is who he professes he is? Is it real? And so I start seeing this thing and he has this group called the Overcome Army. And it was like $50 a month and like weekly like Zoom meeting with him and like some of his coaches, and then sporadic, each coach did a different topic, like one-on-one coaching. And
Nice.
so I join. Um, I every time I've done a podcast, I try to shout out Jason because like his story really helped transform me from being this anxious, like scared, like what the hell am I going to do, human being, into like I can do this because he uses like very like aggressive verbiage. Like,
Yeah, he's not going to hold your hand.
no, but he's like he got famous for writing the letter on the door. Like President Bush actually like, so he, it's like early 2000s. You know, relentless. He's like with relentless optimism. Like
Mhm.
like I'm gonna recover to the fullest of my capabilities, and then on pure tenacity, I'm gonna recover 20% further than they think I can. And I'm like, yeah, that. And
That.
like I don't have to sit here and be like it's gonna take forever. I can push, and so I pushed.
Mhm.
And I met people. Uh, I met a mentor who's from Bellingham, Washington, who has a very somewhat similar story to me, who's a wildly successful human who I love very, very dearly. And he poured into me when I was just
Broken.
broken and an absolute mess. I'm like,
Yeah.
he was patient and he was kind and he listened to all my insanity and he helped me a lot. And so I slowly start getting myself back together. I get a job as a janitor at a local grade school in McMinnville, which was like absolute perfect job at the perfect time of my life because I didn't have to work with anyone. I came in at 3. I talked to my boss for 30 minutes, lined out my night where it needed to be done, and which was pretty much the same every night because it was like the smallest grade school in McMinnville. And I cleaned. And like,
And you could be in it.
I could put my headphones on, no one bugged me. I could just work, and it was awesome. And so I would get up in the morning, I'd walk my dog 5 miles. I would then walk 3 miles to work. I'd walk all night at work, and I would walk back. And there was literally like probably almost a full year of where I'm putting in somewhere between 27,000 and 35,000 steps a day.
Which is going to make that weight just
And it
melt.
just melted off of me. It did. So in 1 year, I went from a size 44 to a 34. Less than a year. I bought more clothes in like a 9-month period than I probably had in a decade.
And 10 inches off the waist is incredible. The Fit for Radio podcast brought to you in part by Motorsport Hillsboro, where they are taking care of some of your gas problems by hooking you up with up to 60% off on gas electric mountain bikes. Go in and check out the selection. They've got everything you need to hit the trails and also cruise the streets. You got to run to the store and you're sick of filling up gas at $5 a gallon? Well, you got to go in to Motorsport Hillsboro. They've got the inventory, the only place you can get up to 60% off on a gas electric mountain bike. Check out the inventory of not just that, but everything off-road that they have to offer. Accessories, dirt bikes, side-by-side street bikes, you name it, motorsporthillsboro.com. The Fit for Radio podcast also brought to you by the Stafford Hills Club, my favorite place to work out, where work meets play for me. You can also get your spot here in the suites or hang out by the pool. The saltwater situation is great, and it's also helping out my kids with the no tangles in their hair. Chlorine really works a number on those girls, so they love that we hang here at Stafford Hills Club. Also, all the amenities when it comes to classes, workout facilities, tennis, and so much more. Check them out today, staffordhills.com. And it is impressive because, you know, you're in this process, and it's funny that you talk about the TED Talk and all that stuff. Like, the very basis of this podcast is for that entirely, for people who hear somebody's story and realize, okay, maybe mine isn't so daunting, even though yours is daunting. But compared to him, that allowed you to just basically to engage and to get going. But it's the same thing for somebody who's going to hear this, and they're going to be riding in their car, and they're overweight, and they don't think they can do it, and they're 240, and they need to be 180. Well, you were 350, and now you look like a Terminator. So I mean, it will move the needle for other people, and I just want to throw that in before we get to anything else, that's important, that you have found a way to pay that forward.
Amen. And that's why I am so open with my story and sharing, because so many people have done that for me. And I am really big on generosity and giving and whatever it is I have to give. And sometimes it's time, and sometimes it's financial, and sometimes it's my story. But I mean, because so many people, like, yeah, I did a lot of this on my own, but God put a lot of people in my path that helped me immensely. From my mom and my sister taking care of my kids to count, like, well, one of my groomsmen, Marcus Torgerson, Marcus is one of my best friends who I've only met once in person. We had never met in person, and I met him through this kind of the same process. We had never met in person until the day, like 2 days before he was in my wedding. And we talk, we talk at least text or call, like probably 3 or 4 times a week. Marcus is a huge reason why I walk with Christ today, but also one of those people that I don't know how many times I've been like, dude, I am so sorry for being such a pain in your ass. And thank you for having patience with me and seeing more in me than I was able to see in myself. And so that's why I get random messages in Messenger or on Instagram from people all the time, because I'm pretty out loud with it. And when I can, and if I can, I'm always willing to at least share advice or help. And that's kind of what leads me into my career path today.
Because you're paying it forward like you should, you know, and helping the next person. Let's just touch real quick on at the end of that time where you're walking to the grade school to lose all that weight. You get to a point where you feel like you can move on to your next adventure. What's the transition?
So it was 4 years ago this January. I'm down to like somewhere between 280, 270. And I'm like, okay. And at this time, I'm pretty on top of my diet. And so like kind of just take a couple steps back. I walk, I then see a lot of weight coming off. I then really start controlling portion control. And then I cut soda completely out of my diet. And then
The whole gallon?
yeah, the whole gallon, dude. I still like, I don't really know the last time. I think I take that back. About 2 months ago, I had my first soda. And
A
like,
whole one?
a whole one. And like
Oh my
first
God.
time in like 5 years.
See, to me, that sounds like freebasing again.
Yeah.
So I don't drink soda, but I love the first sip off of Coca-Cola, like the burn, the
Oh,
cook.
well,
I mean, I'm sure you miss it.
I drink Coke Zero.
Oh, okay, so you're still in it.
Yeah.
Now I haven't had any soda in so long, but I also like I did have a sip off the top of a Coca-Cola came with my burger. Like
Yeah.
it's part of the meal, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll take the can. And so I gave it away to someone else, but I'm all just let me have that first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll drink, I love A&W root beer zero. It's like, that's my dessert at nighttime.
Okay.
That's my sweet treat for the day.
Yeah, you've earned it.
I've earned it. But I haven't had like a real soda in like 6 years until like, I think a couple months ago, I was at a taco place and I wanted like a real Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And as you should, like the Mexican real sugar.
Yeah. No, I can't drink. I can't remember where I was at, but like I like carbonated water because I like the burn. And like I accidentally like it was on the same thing as like Sprite or 7-Up or whatever the heck it was. And I accidentally hit that and I take a drink thinking it's that. And like I literally spit it out of my mouth in the restaurant. Oh my God. Because it was so foreign to me because it's so syrupy and sweet. Like it was gross and repulsive.
Well, there's also a mental thing about when you decide to change your life when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I will say when I first started my health and wellness journey, like I missed the foods that I love so much that I would eat rotisserie chicken at work. And like one of the ladies at work caught me, like I would take it and then I would chew on the skin and then spit it out into the garbage can.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just trying to live."
Yeah, exactly. I have been guilty of doing that with like
All
desserts.
kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, like want to try like I just want to taste the flavor of that. Like chew on it for a little bit and then spit it out. And we're like, how do you do that? That's psychopathic. Like this seems like it's like you're torturing yourself. I'm like, no, like I get like the reward from the on my palate. But anyway,
Yeah, my wife will be like, "Did you just pull that food out of your mouth?" I'm like, "Shh."
yeah, exactly. So I then do a ketogenic diet for like 90 days, and then the weight just melts off me. I'm losing like 40 pounds a month. And then at this time, I'm back in the gym, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I hire a personal trainer, and the gym.
But you're present.
Yeah, but I'm present. But the gym becomes my lifeline. The gym becomes where like I have a social life again. I actually meet people in 3D, not just in the social media or Zooms or something like that. And so it becomes just like going to the bar, I guess. It becomes habitual.
Well, it's like here where I work out, it becomes a family and
exactly.
And even more than family, the word is community.
Yeah, community. It became my community. So my community now, instead of being
bunch of tweakers,
a bunch of criminals and drug dealers and lowlifes and scumbags, it's people at church and the gym. And I now have a dream job at West Coast Strength, Kaiser. We have locations all over the place, 2 up here in the metro area, 2 in Salem, 1 down in Springfield, 1 in Eugene, and just opened 1 in Medford. And community and family is what I'm all about. And I hope as the leader of the gym I'm responsible for that those feelings are echoed loudly, because I don't care if it's your first day and you've never lifted a weight in your life and you have 150 pounds to lose, or you're the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. I want everyone to walk through those doors, feel loved, welcomed, and appreciated for the effort that they're going to put in to change, because it wasn't easy. And I've managed to keep off all the weight, and it's been a lot of effort. And
yeah, you have to, and it's a constant fight, especially when we get to our age in your mid 40s. You know, I was at the pool. I work out every day, and I do 1,000 push-ups every day, and I ride my Peloton. I do that every single day. But then I'm like, okay, well, I walk out to the pool, and there's all these people who are like super ripped, and I'm like, wow, it is for all of us. We're all on a different journey.
Yeah.
Than the next guy, and then you just have to do your best to make it about your journey. And like I'm not going to mince words. I walked out and I saw the reflection of my pale body, which doesn't help. Like you add a tan to it.
Right.
They say if you can't tone it, tan it.
Right.
But, I thought I was in some pretty good shape yesterday. Now I got to get back to being like, okay, am I grabbing a bite of that dessert? Am I doing this? And so now, granted, give yourself some grace and give yourself some wiggle room. You have to live, or
Yes.
this is for nothing.
Yeah.
But it's just about having that happy medium. And I forever was fasting till noon. And, I've been eating a breakfast because I'm working out. And I'm like, well, do I go back to fasting? So it's always a constant fine tune. But the reason I bring up my stuff is that's kind of how it should be in a gym, that, the lady who's 65 and just trying to be mobile so she doesn't, like ache when she gets out of bed and she can walk with her grandkids is
Yeah.
just as important as me trying to beat my deadlift record.
Yeah, exactly. That. And I think that is the beauty of a gym that offers community and support. And I think that West Coast Strength has done that very, very well. I remember the first time I walked into the one in Salem and I got a membership. I'm still pretty fat and I'm intimidated. And the first person I really meet is Will, who was also in my wedding. And Will is just a hulk of a human being. He's a former airborne ranger. Like, it's just,
Yeah, he's got it.
busting out of his, and he's just full of energy and life. And I just felt super welcomed. And and Alex, the owner, has done a great job of hiring great people, and what he's built and the brand he has is above and beyond anything I expected. And I'm really humbled that I get to be a part of that.
Well, think about how far you've come to, and it's really kind of a full circle moment. You were so depressed and sad, and you hated yourself to a point where you wouldn't walk out of your door. I mean, I don't know who delivered all those Cheetos. Shame on them. No, but all jokes aside, you were so depressed that you didn't want to be here anymore, and then you found a way to crawl back, because it's not an overnight thing, and it's a good thing in your job now that you can tell people is that it is a process. But a little bit better today is a little step forward is all you need, because a little step back is dangerous.
Right.
But I don't need to show you a graph that a little step forward only takes you in one direction, and that's north.
Yeah. And, I have said and will always say, like, if you can't take a baby step forward, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you roll. And if you have to, you fall face forward. As long as you're falling forward,
always
it's
fall
okay.
forward.
And, it's not always going to be linear. And sometimes it's circular, and it's, it's, but
there's going to be bad days.
Yeah, there's going to be bad days. And even in those bad days, we can choose to find something good in them, because, like, I guarantee you, even on my worst days when I wasn't present enough to recognize there was something good, but I am present enough today to know that, like, even when my days are really bad, or I'm struggling, or I'm not feeling 100%, or something is off in me, I can thank God that I'm alive. And something I do, and I have done every day for a very long time. I wake up in the morning, I say, thank you, Lord, for waking me up today, the breath in my lungs, the movement of my limbs, and the opportunity to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. Because I think we're all guilty at some point, especially if you've lived more than 40 years. That's a lot of wake ups. That's a lot of sunsets and sunrises. And they almost feel given, or like it's going to happen again tomorrow.
A requirement.
Yeah, like it's just going to happen again tomorrow, because why won't it? It already has. And I've lost a lot of friends to overdose, suicide, and I've lost parents or a parent. And I've understand how fragile life can be. And to wake up is an absolute blessing. And if I can at least start my day with gratitude and maybe stepping into the sun a little bit and thanking God for the life I have, I'm generally like, I don't stay stuck in a bad day. I can be stuck in bad moments, but never a bad day.
I think that's a great way to look at things, because I've lost a lot of friends to overdose, like a tragic number. And I come from a place where they warn you about it, a place of money and indulgence usually leads to trouble. And that's what happened. And I'll even put it in perspective to you, because when we were in college, one of the last times I ever saw you, all those years ago, there was 13 of us. And then you left school, and then there were 12 of us. 2 of those guys are dead. They died of overdose. And so you got to think that in a room full of boys who were so full of energy, and you remember the first day we all hung out and we walked around that campus and we were so excited, and the world was our oyster. and nobody could stop us. 2 of them are dead. And it's because of overindulgence and thinking that, you're smarter than the drug or whatever. But I think it is important to wake up, and it's tough for me and for anyone else to remember this every day when your own life is in the way, is that you're lucky to be here right now in this moment, and you should be grateful.
Yeah.
And use that grace that has been given to you to spread love onto others while
Amen.
you're here.
Amen. I think I'm going to do my best not to cry, but I don't think there has been a week that has gone by in the last 6 years of my life that I haven't cried at least once, like out of pure joy, especially for the life I live today. Like I would consider myself a really great father.
You're in a great relationship.
I'm in a fantastic relationship with an amazing woman. Hannah is.
She seems to build you up.
She is the epitome of what a godly wife should be, and I am abundantly blessed that she chose to be with me. I have 2 fantastic kids who God has shielded and made them wildly successful. The love of others poured into them has helped them. By all means, both of my kids could be absolute turds, and rightfully so. Like no one, like
it would be
like, of course,
legitimized.
Yeah, it would be legit. I mean, not that they couldn't make their own choices, but it would be legitimized. People would understand, and they're not. But it all started because of God's grace. And people are like, well, I get a lot of rebuke from people who don't believe in God, and they're like, well, you did that. I'm like, no, God gave me the tools. He just said jump, and I said how high. He said, I need you to fill this in. I grabbed the shovel and I went to work. I know what I do when I'm left to my own devices, and I have like 25 or 30 years of track record of making bad decisions. But there's not a week that goes by that I don't feel like I'm living a dream. Like because there was a point I honestly thought, and we'll just use 2020, the start of 2020. It's like, I'll never be happy again. I'll never smile. I'll never laugh. I'll never see anything that will make me feel good. Like
joy is canceled.
Joy is canceled. Like, this is just because I hadn't, right? Like for like 4 or 5 years, it had just been misery on top of misery on top of misery, and like death and loss. And I lost my dad. I lost both of my wife. My ex-wife lost both of her parents. I lost like 3 or 4 friends to overdose. I lost 2 friends to suicide. And I just life was just horrible. And to wake up and be grateful that you're alive, compared to waking up and being pissed off that you're breathing, is a blessing. And so I think if I were to just say one thing, is it's like, you have survived 100% of your worst days. Like, if you're listening to this, you have survived 100% of your worst days. And that means that, like, whatever you're going through today is going to get better. Like, just don't give up.
And you're an example of the fruits of your labor will pay off.
Amen. You reap what you sow.
And what seems so daunting when you're just trying to get to the top of a hill or get around the block or whatever, it's those things, it's those baby steps, and it's keeping the hope and the faith that you can come out the other side. Before we go, though, I do want to give you the floor just to talk to anyone who is in that space. And I know you kind of did there, but what's the mission statement to somebody they don't think they can get off the drugs, they're fat, they're out of control, and they hate themselves?
My advice to everybody is find your why. Find your why. Because people ask me that question. You'd be surprised how often I get that question, be it about weight loss. And generally, if there's weight loss, there's like significant. There's something else that's like you have found comfort in food for some reason. Not all the time, but I would say vast majority of the time, find your why. Like, what in your life caused you to find a solution in something that wasn't a solution? And once you find that why, work like hell to improve it and heal from it. Once you can look internally and you can touch those dark places you've never shared with anybody else, and you can become as comfortable as possible with them, take that to therapist, take that to a 12-step program where you're not going to get advice on how to deal with it, but you're going to be able to air it. And the more you air it, the less power and the less grip it has on you. So find your why. Like, why am I doing this? Okay, now you found your why. Now heal from it.
I love it. I'm so proud of you, dude.
Thanks, brother.
It's so great to see you happy, healthy, and strong. He looks fierce, this man. You got to see him on video on our YouTube feed if you don't watch all the shows there as well. And you can catch it on all your favorite platforms. And James, you're a stand-up dude. And like I said, it's so great to see you after 27 years.
That's wild, dude. I don't like.
We look pretty good for a couple old guys.
I feel like that. I mean, most days I'm like, I'm doing pretty good for almost 46. And most of the time I don't feel like I'm 46 until like, I went and did one of our HIIT classes on Saturday, and my legs are just dying. And I text Marcus afterwards, and I'm like, dude, weightlifting is so much better than a HIIT class. Like, let me lift some really heavy weight. I'll grunt for a little while. I'll feel strained, and then I'm going to rest for 2 minutes. But like this, like constant movement for 45 minutes, and I'm sweaty, and like I didn't even lift anything heavy, in my legs and my butt cheeks, and everything is so sore. And you'll watch me stand up, and I'm gonna stand up like I'm an old man.
I will say this, and I will say it with passion. The ladies, and some of the guys who do it too, the ladies who work out in the classes here at the gym that I'm at, they're the toughest people in this gym. I did the Pilates reformer class. They had me wiggling. Those ladies were standing stout and tall.
100%.
So I have 1,000 things to work on, especially with all those people I saw at the pool yesterday. But it is a community here, as it is at your gym. And I'm just so glad that they have you, and that you can be a motivator to others who are looking to make a change in their journey. James, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. It was a absolute pleasure. It was great to see your face too.
Great to see you too. We are live at the Stafford Hills Club, where you can join as well. Hit us up at staffordhills.com. And remember, family memberships are filling up fast, and that pool's feeling real nice. Saltwater all day, baby. staffordhills.com.